conservatives are struggling once again when it comes to the state of North Carolina. And more specifically, when it comes to a MAGA loyalist who is currently running for the governor of North Carolina. Now, previously, this man was running for lieutenant governor, and he won, and this man's name is Mark Robinson. Just in March of this year, Trump endorsed the guy, and you're probably going to lose your mind when you hear how Trump talks about this guy.
But, you know, I heard him coming in on the plane. I was listening, and I said to the people on the plane, watch this. This is Martin Luther King on steroids, okay? Now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King ×2. And he looked at me, and I wasn't sure, was he angry because that's a terrible thing to say, or was he complimented? I have never figured it out. But I'm telling you, he's one of, right? When I said that to you, you looked like, I don't know if I like that comment. You should like it, because you are outstanding, and you're going to be the next governor, so that's going to be very cool.
Okay, so there's Trump just calmly referring to this guy as Martin Luther King on steroids. Now, this man is incredibly controversial, and he has a long history of being controversial, but recently, things got even worse. So, this is the man in question, Mark Robinson. So the man has a ridiculously strict view on abortion. He wants to outright and completely ban abortion in the state of North Carolina, with no exception, even though, plot twist, this guy paid for his wife, or paid for his then girlfriend in the 1980s, to have an abortion. Bravo, first and foremost. Once again, another stupid, hypocritical conservative that wants to ban abortion for everybody else, ban abortion for thee, but not for me. He's made multiple different anti-Semitic remarks as well. He claimed that the Marvel movie Black Panther was created by an agnostic Jew to put to film by satanic Marxists. That was only created to pull the shekels out of your pockets, and he used a Yiddish slur for black people. Robinson also appeared at an interview with fringe pastor Sean Moon, who claimed that he planned to become king of the United States in the interview. This pastor also claimed that the Rothschild family was one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and promoted the anti-Semitic conspiracy theory of a cabal of Jewish international bankers that rule every country's central bank. Robinson endorsed Moon's claim as, quote, exactly right. Ay. He's also made multiple different homophobic and transphobic remarks as well. Here he is talking about arresting trans people for using the bathroom that corresponds with their gender identity.
We're not going to talk about it here in North Carolina. We've already passed the law. If we need to pass another one, we will. We're going to defend women's sports in this state. Period. We're going to defend women in this state. That means if you're a man on Friday night, and all of a sudden Saturday you feel like a woman and you want to go in the women's bathroom in the mall, you will be arrested. But what if we don't do you? We're going to protect our women.
So arrest trans people for just using the bathroom that corresponds with their gender identity, even though studies have already demonstrated that when there are gender-neutral bathrooms in place, we don't see any uptick in sexual abuse or sex crimes. We just don't see it. So this man is just a massive piece of shit. Here's some more clips of him. Here he is talking about how this country needs to be run by men, not women.
Getting ready to get in trouble. Called to be led by men. God sent women out when he was supposed to do, when they had to do that thing. But when it was time to face down Goliath, sent David, not Devita, David.
What? That's his example? God picked a man to fight Goliath? What about Ruth? What about Esther? God picked Esther to confront the king. According to the Bible, God chose Esther to be queen in order to save the Jewish people from destruction. Here are some reasons why. Part of a divine plan, God's purpose, theology of possibility, a demonstration of God's covenant. So you're pulling from the Old Testament, giving an example of where God picked a man to carry out something for him, and you're using that to conclude that God calls men to lead? So you're just ignoring all the parts in the Bible in which God also chose women to lead. Seems really convenient that, oh, well, David was a man, he was picked, so God chose men to lead. Herder. But then when it comes to Esther or Ruth or other women in the Bible, nah, women, go make me a sandwich, shut up. Like, it's just embarrassing.
There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth.
So yeah, this guy's just a huge piece of work, a massive, just shitbag. And Trump has called this man Martin Luther King on steroids. No, this would be like Martin Luther King on meth. Now, as we know, he was running for lieutenant governor, which is basically just like vice governor. You just take over the governor position if the governor's absent, or if the governor dies or something like this. But a while ago, he was running for lieutenant governor, and he did win. Now he's running for governor. And only a couple days ago, a brand new report released some pretty damning evidence that Mark Robinson used to have quite a big profile on a porn forum in which he put all kinds of despicable and disgraceful comments out there. First of all, he labels himself a black Nazi, allegedly, according to this report. Mark Robinson, the controversial and socially conservative Republican nominee for governor of North Carolina, made a series of inflammatory comments on a pornography website's message board more than a decade ago, in which he referred to himself as a black Nazi and expressed support for reinstating slavery. Despite a recent history of anti-transgender rhetoric, Robinson said he enjoyed watching transgender pornography every single time. The abortion thing, and now this, every time. The biggest homophobes are secretly gay or are secretly like bisexual or something. And every time it's like the people that are all against abortion have been getting abortions all along. It's just so predictable. Now, of course, Mark Robinson has denied that these comments were him because they were posted under a different username. However, Robinson listed his full name on his profile for the porn site, as well as an email address he used on numerous websites across the internet for decades. And again, Mark Robinson claims that he cares about women and him and the Republicans are going to protect women again. Well, privately, under the username on the porn site, Robinson graphically described his own sexual arousal as an adult from the memory of secretly peeping on women in public gym showers as a 14-year-old. Robinson recounted the story as a memory he said he still fantasized about. This man is terrified of trans people going into the bathroom and peeping on women, yet he's the one who's went into women's bathrooms and peeped on women. Now, here's where it gets a little bit more controversial. Of course, Mark Robinson is denying that these messages were posted by him. However, CNN certainly did their research, identifying his username, Mini Soldier, as Robinson. So on the porn website, in both comments and his profile, Mini Soldier offered numerous details that align precisely with Robinson's personal history. In his profile, he listed his full name as Mark Robinson and disclosed a private email address Robinson used elsewhere online. In 2012, a user responded to a comment by calling Mini Soldier Mark. Mini Soldier mentioned in 2008 being married for 18 years, which corresponds with Robinson's marriage to Yolanda Hill in 1990. Robinson has frequently used the username Mini Soldier elsewhere on the internet. On X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, Robinson once used the Mini Soldier username, according to a screenshot he shared on Facebook in 2018. A YouTube playlist for user named Mini Soldier features exclusively videos of Robinson. On Pinterest, a user Mini Soldier lists his name as Mark Robinson. Dude. The Mini Soldier username has also posted reviews of products and places Robinson has also publicly recommended. On Amazon, a user named Mini Soldier reviewed products frequently shared by Robinson on Facebook, including remote-controlled helicopters. And the same email address and username used on the porn site also left reviews on Google for 2 local businesses Robinson later posted on Facebook that he used. This is like Hansel and Gretel just laying down the breadcrumbs. He left a breadcrumb trail for the media to just follow. In the pornographic forums, Robinson revealed his unvarnished thoughts on issues such as race, gender, and abortion. Writing in a forum discussing black Republicans in October 2010, Robinson stated unprovoked, "I'm a black Nazi." That same month, Robinson wrote in another post that he supported the return of slavery. "Slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few," he wrote. In March 2012, Robinson wrote that he preferred Adolf Hitler over the leadership of Barack Obama. He also frequently used derogatory and racial slurs directed at black people, Jewish people, and Muslim people. In a series of 7 posts in October 2011, Robinson disparaged Martin Luther King in such intense terms, calling him a commie bastard, worse than a maggot, a hoe fucking pony, and a huckster, that a user in the thread accused him of being in the KKK. Robinson responded by directing a slur at King. In October 2010, Robinson used the anti-Semitic slur when discussing how he liked the show Good Times, developed by Norman Lear, saying the show itself was a bunch of bleep written by liberal bullshit. While discussing the Taliban, he referred to Muslims as little rag-headed bastards. Holy shit. Robinson also used homophobic slurs frequently, calling other users the F slur. In a largely positive forum discussion featuring a photo of 2 men kissing after one returned from military deployment, Robinson wrote the sole negative comment, "That's some old sick F slur bullshit," he wrote. So this is the guy that Trump is calling Martin Luther King on steroids. Again, may I suggest Martin Luther King on meth? This man, I don't even know how he is still running, but he is. Somehow he is. And even worse, top staffers have now quit since this report has went public. Several top employees on Mark Robinson's campaign to become North Carolina's next governor have quit their posts after a media report found compelling evidence that the Republican candidate previously described himself as a black Nazi, spoke favorably of reinstating slavery, and shared other disturbing thoughts. Polls show that Robinson is trailing his Democratic opponent. So you'd think, though, with all of this, even now with this guy's staff quitting, you'd think that maybe Trump would try to take a step back, right? Well, you would then be wrong, because Donald Trump is an idiot and a stupid man. Donald Trump is facing calls both from allies and from within his own campaign to pull his endorsement from scandal-plagued North Carolina candidate Mark Robinson, according to 4 people familiar with the discussions. So far, however, there are no plans for the former president to formally drop him. The Trump campaign press secretary told NBC News that reports that Trump is considering pulling the endorsement are false. So that's the Republicans for you guys. The party that wants to protect women, so much so that they're voting for the serial rapist, President Trump, and Republicans are backing this guy in North Carolina. This is the party of family values, being represented by the dude with the porn site scandal. These are people who are supported by Christians and by other people that think that family and morals are incredibly important, that are then disparaging people behind closed doors and engaging in blatant immoral action.